So 1.1 is out and we have two new characters coming up, SilverWolf and Luocha. In this video, we'll be talking about who to pull, why to pull, or should you skip for the upcoming characters in 1.3. Next up, let's talk about our super hacker, SilverWolf. She's a quantum character of the Path of Nihility, which is all about applying debuffs to enemies, letting your team do more damage. What makes her special is that she has the ability to implant new elemental weaknesses to enemies depending on the elements of your characters in your team. Which means, if none of your characters can break the enemy's break bar, SilverWolf would add a weakness to them, allowing your characters to now deal damage to their toughness bars. This ability is insanely broken as it now straight up allows you to skip one of the game mechanics, which is all about building around the enemy's weaknesses. Let's say you have a very high invested Seele, but the only reason she's not able to dominate the game is because not every enemy is weak to quantum. Well, SilverWolf can help you with that. She's able to apply quantum weakness to all the enemies, letting your Seele wreak havoc all over the place to her heart's content. But wait, there's more. As a Nihility character, SilverWolf is all about inflicting debuffs on enemies. Every time SilverWolf attacks, there's a moderate base chance of her inflicting bugs on enemies. These bugs can do one of these three things: reduce attack, reduce defense, and reduce speed of the enemies. She can have all three of these bugs on the enemies at the same time. Her ultimate has a very high chance of reducing enemy defense by a great amount. Alright, enough shilling for SilverWolf. Let's get to the things that are not so good about her. First off, all her debuffs have some level of RNG to them. They're not guaranteed to be applied on enemies, which is why you'll need to build her with a lot of effect hit rate, which means you won't be doing much personal damage. Her weakness implanting mechanic has a degree of RNG as well. For example, if your team has 4 characters of different elements, then you have a 25% chance for you to apply one of these elements. There are 2 ways to circumvent this. First is to build a mono team, where you have SilverWolf and 3 other characters of the same element. This gives you a 75% chance to apply the weakness of your desired element. Second way is to build a team according to your enemy's weaknesses, where the only weakness that your enemy isn't weak to from your team is the weakness that you want to apply using SilverWolf. This allows you to make sure that she always applies the weakness of your desired element. And her last caveat is that she's single target oriented, which means while she excels in boss fights, she's going to be terrible in AoE scenarios. And as for why I would pull for SilverWolf, alright, let's talk about Otto. I mean Luocha. Yeah, he's called Luocha, right? Yeah. Let's talk about Luocha. The services that this self-proclaimed merchant can provide us is healing, which he has quite the abundance of. Everyone's favorite coffin-carrying man is the first real imaginary character that we can actually properly pull for. Sorry, Welt. His skill heals a party member based on his attack, and also is able to dispel a debuff on them. This skill can trigger automatically if a party member's health falls under a certain threshold without using any skill points. His ultimate deals AoE damage to all enemies on the field, dispelling one of their buffs. Remember the self-reviving enemies that you fight later on? The self-revive is actually a buff that Luocha can remove using his ultimate, preventing those enemies from reviving in the first place. He gets a stack of Abyss Flower whenever he uses his skills or ultimates. When he gets 2 stacks, he deploys a field against his enemies. Enemies which are in this field, when hit by allies, restore HP to these allies depending on Luocha's attack. So our coffin dancer here is quite a versatile character. He provides a lot of utilities, is a very good source of healing and also imaginary break. So for his caveats, unlike other healers, he scales on attack instead of HP, which makes him much less tanky compared to the others. Similar to DPS characters, he is pretty prone to dying. Most of his healing happens automatically, although that is a plus point that can also be a problem in situations where your entire party is at very low HP and a big burst heal could save them. But Luocha doesn't quite have a big burst heal. He has instead consistent heals that happen throughout the battle. So now that we have talked about both the characters here, let's talk about who would you rather pull. If you don't have Bailu or Gepard, Luocha is very close to a must-pull character. He consolidates the second healer slot that you need for the second team in modes such as Forgotten Hall and Memories of Chaos. He's also an imaginary character which were not real before this patch pretty much, because we only had wealth and he was a standard 5-star which was very hard to get. So he right now is a very valuable character. On the other hand, we have SilverWolf, who is looking to be a very game-breaking character in my opinion. Her weakness implant opens up a lot of possibilities, but unfortunately as of now the limited character pool is gonna prevent us from unleashing her whole potential. But she's an extremely future-proof character who is very unlikely to get power creeped in any way anytime soon. Like, power creeping SilverWolf would be extremely hard, and she's gonna be a very strong character regardless. If we compare the both of them, the healing that Luocha provides with his utility with his AoE dispel on enemies and cleansing on allies is huge, while SilverWolf is going to change the way players play the game. They're both really good units, which makes it harder for someone to choose to get only one of them. So for the F2P crowd who can't pick any two and you really need a healer, go for Luocha. If you perhaps have a Bailu or a Gepard and you feel like you can go without a healer, you can pick SilverWolf and see how it goes, because even if she doesn't work now, she's gonna work really well down the line. But that's going to be up to you to decide. Alright. As for the banners, SilverWolf's banner is also not the best, having 3 4-star characters which are already available for free. So unless you're looking for eidolons on these characters, it's not really recommended to pull for 4 stars on that banner. On the other hand, for Luocha, we have the new 4-star imaginary character Yukong, who is going to be much more valuable since imaginary characters are so rare. And although she'll be free in 1.2, some people might want to have her beforehand from 1.1, so that is up to your discretion. Do keep that in mind that she's also free. Finally, the skippers. I haven't forgotten about you guys. Thanks for watching so far, but let me tell you what's up. Kafka and Blade, you're waiting for these 2 characters. There is a higher chance for Blade to be the first banner than Kafka, because when SilverWolf and Luocha were announced, SilverWolf was shown first and then Luocha. Here, Blade was revealed first before the announcement for Kafka, so I'm guessing, remember, this is a guess, a prediction that Blade is more likely to be the first banner. Speaking of which, to all you Blade fans out there, all 12 of you, Luocha has really good synergy with Blade, so if you somehow have extra resources that you can give on pulls, or you have saved up a lot, then you can think about potentially picking up Luocha and Blade if you can, because they work really well together. For Kafka wanters, the reason you wanna pull for Kafka is... yeah, pretty much. You know, I know, we all know. So Kafka is gonna bring out the new DOT playstyle, which is gonna open new doors. So of course, that is worth pulling for, if not for. Alright, that's it. So if you feel like checking more videos out from me, you can check out how I got the most godlike free-to-play account, or even the ultimate combat guide for Honkai Star Rail. Well then, see you later. Goodbye.